Welcome, I am Joshua Delisle, the designer blacksmith, and in a previous episode we took the Ortur Laser Master 2 and converted it into a plasma table. As you can see, I like to modify a lot of the equipment that I receive, and this is going to be no exception. So let's open it up quick, put it together, and then see what we can do with it. So if you guys go on madethebest.com, you can find all the Ortur models. So let's look exactly what are you getting for your money. So the laser module itself is worth $300. This produces a true 10 watt output power and can cut up to 30mm thick acrylic. It has a built-in air-assisted nozzle, an adapter, has a built-in height gauge for easy quick setup, and it has a focal length of 50mm, which is fantastic for a diode laser. Now the way this laser works is it has two 5.5 watt lasers inside it that are focused using mirrors. Now this isn't just fantastic for cutting through wood and engraving wood, this will actually engrave steel really happily, which I'll show you. So what's special about this control box is firstly it's a 32-bit motherboard. It comes with the latest 1.8 firmware, but its movements are quick and very quiet. In fact, it can move 15,000mm per minute. And with a high-powered laser, that means you can get stuff done super quick. Now the control box itself is a nice piece of solid steel. I like the fact that it's got an emergency stop button, and that is just a pause, so you can actually unstop it and carry on from where you left off. It has built-in fire sensors, which is always very handy if you're running a woodworking workshop, and will notify you of any problems using an alarm here. So what I like about the construction of the gantry on this model is it's an all-metal construction, whilst the previous model, the bracketry, was all made from acrylic. I really like the cable tidy here, and that keeps everything nice and neat for a tidy workshop. What I like about this setup here is the X-axis has got the motor mounted on the side here. This has reduced the weight on the gantry, which means you can have quicker movements without any problems. So I like the fact that it's got numbers referencing on the side here. That means when I do jig setting, it can be really efficient to set up. So Made the Best do supply special compressors, but I've linked this one to my own compressor using a fitting very similar to this, and I'll put this in a link in the description if you're interested. What I had to do though is drop my pressure down to just 20 psi, which I think is the maximum this can handle. Otherwise you'll pop this rubber, which I can tell you from experience. And lastly, the instruction manual was absolutely fine. You actually get given a QR code, or the website's just here, and that shows you a series of videos that you can use to construct it with, which are absolutely fine to watch. So let's get straight into testing this thing. Now I've got a plethora of material here. I've got lots of nice offcuts of 9mm thick hardwood ply. I've got some 6mm MDF, and I've got some 18mm thick MDF. Now what you can do is go down to your local DIY store, and if it's like this in England, they normally have the offcuts set aside into a bin, and all you need to do is donate some money to charity and help yourself. And these big sheets, we've got 5mm, 9mm and 12mm hardwood ply. And we'll upgrade the gantry to be able to do a full-size sheet, shall we? So now we're ready, I'll turn the air on and we'll press play. So if I do say so myself, that is pretty cool. Right, so we're moving on to some MDF now, and in all my testing I've had some excellent results. So what I found is that you can cut through MDF in just a few passes, but if you actually go faster and do several passes, you get a much better quality of cut. Let me just show you this. So nice brown edges, not too black. But that has come out really nice. So why am I not showing you something that I've made with this? This quality of MDF is different to the rest of the stuff that I've got. And this is something that you need to know. So obviously no two bits of wood are ever the same, so you need to get your settings right depending on what you're doing. So look at these. So that's the one that I just showed you. This is what I've actually got. You can see it's slightly darker. It's probably got more of a moisture content to it, and when I'm cutting it, it's getting a bit more sooty. So it's taking a lot more passes to do this one. But to increase the quality of the cut, several passes is what you want anyway. Okay, we're all set and ready to go. I'll turn the air on and we'll press play. Let's fit this for the client and see if they're happy. What do you think?
Look at the balcony. I love it.
A bit aligned there with that floor?
Yeah.
Can you get me some more screws as well out of that jar?
Here you go, Daddy.
Oh, well done. There we go, doing it if you want. Yeah, turn that.
Bobby's already enjoying it.
So what colour are you going to paint it?
I'd say turquoise.
So,
Pink.
what base colour are you going to colour it?
White. I would say white.
Yeah, so several coats of white. Right, remember when you paint it, just put some paper down and, well, talk to Mummy about it first, otherwise I'll be in trouble. So you happy with it?
Yeah. Yep.
Who do I send the invoice to?
What?
So far this has made an excellent Father's Day gift that would bless the whole family. But let's see if we can get this to do some actual paying work and, more importantly, metal work. So this, believe it or not, is the locking pin to the way gates that I made for Richmond Park in central London. Now the idea of how this would work is the gates actually have like a loop of steel on each leaf of the gate. This locking pin goes through, wedging those leaves together really tightly, and at the bottom you can fix a padlock. So anyway, now that it's finished, I'd like to put my maker's mark on it. So let's use the laser. Right, I'm just going to move the gantry just past this cutout here, and then I'm running two programs. One program is the maker's mark, and the other one is a positioning mark. Let me show you how it works. So let me just make sure I'm exact at home. Now I'm going to move the gantry up, set that to 0. Now I'm going to run my marking, which is running at 10,000 millimeters per minute at full amperage. So you can see how quickly that moved, and it gave me a nice faint line just to go by. So if I put my piece now, providing I don't move the wood at all, I can reference it within those lines, and then when I press play, it'll engrave straight on the stainless absolutely fine. But there's something I want to do first before we do that. So if you've looked into engraving stainless using lasers, you might have seen all sorts of funny and interesting things, like spreading mustard on it in all kinds of concoctions in order for the laser to engrave the steel right. This will engrave with no problem straight on to shiny stainless steel. And this is what I did. This is the first one I did, and that was using absolutely no preparation whatsoever, straight onto it. As you can see, my dog's tag, and it came out perfect. However, I want to discourage you from doing that. After I was watching it, I was concerned how much of the laser has been reflected back up into the module itself. And that, I think, can only cause some problems, either with overheating or damaging the inside. So I have an alternative of my own I'd like to share. So this is a technique used by machinists before machine bluing was a thing. My steel, a candle. What I'm going to do is put a layer of soot. Get a nice coating of soot, like that. Now the idea is you're going to get a deeper etching because the soot will absorb all that light energy and superheat at that very point. It's also stopping any reflective light coming back and damaging your module. And I found the etchings to come out more vivid and seems to work really well, and it's cheap. Don't need to buy anything. Okay, so now I've got it marked back on the reference line. I know exactly where 0 is for the maker's mark, so I'll move it to position. No air is needed for this, so I can just press play. Okay, so moment of truth. So I've got some a makeup removing wipe here and some acetone. So it's on there, but it's a bit lighter than I wanted it to be. My tests actually came out a lot darker. So there you can see my tests. But that's because maybe this is too highly polished. I mean, that is incredibly vivid and beautiful. That's a bit on the light side. Right, so I've gone ahead and polished it out because I wasn't happy. And as you can see, it was no easy job polishing it out. It did actually still etch in quite deeply. But I realised on the settings that I had actually made a mistake. You're meant to engrave it at 100 millimeters per minute, but my settings had the outline at 100 millimeters per minute, but the infill was at 1000. So instead of taking 3 minutes, it should have took 30 minutes. So we'll try it again at that slower speed and see if we can get the result to come out a bit better. So let's see how that turned out. So I've got a good feeling about this one. Oh, look at that. That's it. That's more like it. And that is deep. You can really... Can you hear that with my thumb? So I think the key there is just to take it nice and slowly. Go too quick and it just won't bed in enough. And if your material isn't as shiny, you can get away with going a lot quicker. So these were only 3 minutes each. This was half an hour. Well worth the wait though, I would say. You can imagine if you're a knife maker, for example, you could easily cut out a jig for putting your knives into. Custom etching or putting your own maker's marks or anything like that on them, fantastic. Yeah, that opens up a huge amount of possibilities for me. Right, so there's one last test I'd like to do, and that is to cut myself a sign that is the full width of the gantry of the machine. Now, what I've got on the table there is a full-size sheet of stainless steel. More on that in a little moment. So you'll notice also that I've got my computer. That's because the time it was going to take was about 5 hours. I managed to rejig it to only 3 hours, which is fantastic. And for that I'm using the free GBRL laser software which comes free with the machine. And for this I'm running at 1000 millimeters per minute, 100% power. But what I'll do is I'll set up a time lapse and you can see how well it will etch me a nice sign. Okay, so here I'm making all the mistakes so you guys don't have to. Not only do I absolutely suck at time lapses, which I'm going to have to go ahead and figure out how to do that better, I didn't account for just how much this stainless would warp. I mean, look at that. And as you can see here, as I was attempting to clamp everything down, I'd paused it, but it obviously came out of misalignment, so it completely ruined it. Okay, so I think I've got it all set up now. I've rejigged the design just a little bit. It now says 2 hours and 47 minutes. This is all clamped, this is clamped. I've done a perimeter check to make sure it's all aligned. I've checked the spelling. Let's see how this turns out. Play. Now that is fantastic. Although what I will say is that the machine actually stopped 3 times. I managed to be able to get the zeroing correct, and so it was able to carry on where it left off, and doing that on the computer meant that the computer remembered where it was basically, even though the machine had turned off completely. I think that was more to do with overheating than anything else, because it's a lot for that machine to do. The level of detail is incredible. So this is one of my old horse sculpture designs that I did. For some of my long-term following subscribers, you'll recognise the forge work that I used to do. Hopefully we'll do again with this advert. Yeah, I'm going to take this to the Royal Welsh Show now, so if anyone's going, I'll see you there. But just before you leave, there's more. There's obviously some decent discounts on all the machines that made the best are selling, so do check those out in the description. But look at what I have there on the table. These are some long aluminium extrusions, as you can probably guess, to do an expansion pack. So theoretically, I can get this machine to engrave or cut out a full-size sheet, which is why I got these full-size sheets. Anyway, we've run out of time on this video. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments, give it a like, subscribe, and I will make it. And for those of you who've stayed this long in the video, what are you still doing here? Get out there and forge a life worth living. See you in the next episode. See ya.